incredible weapon if you were in a cultist pet class. Uh, 60% fire resist. No. Last bag. No. It's close though. That might be a small improvement. Okay.
See you around.
Hello, Esquire. Did you do the quest for just leveling up? I had a character pre-new DLC, and I'm just lost at what to do after level 15. Yeah, I did any quests I came across. Basically, what you need to do is get to Fort Icon, which is one of the last towns in the base game. And then there's a new path going out to the northwest from Fort Icon. That's the new DLC. Oh, I can use this now. I was carrying this around. I think I will. This has got +1 to all shaman skills. And I don't think that breaks anything we were doing. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... 12 skills that we've got here that just got a level up, so that's giving us 12 skill ups, which is incredible. Okay. Alright. I was playing D2 the other day, the environment, especially River Flame, even today's breathtaking. Mm-hmm. Thanks for the info. I think I might go with Season 4. The mounts sound nice. I would go with Ice Brew, but I don't know the first thing about raids in this game. I got guides on it if you're interested, but if not, that is also fair. This guy's got like a sigil above his head. I don't know what that means. Primal Spirit is chewing through him. These guys are coming around to hit me. What difficulty? Veteran. The highest difficulty you can start the game with. With a new character. Okay, I think we've fully mapped out this cave. Go to the next area. Surely not the one where you die, you lose your character. Oh, hardcore? No. I do it here. Hold on, just to show it. It's been a long time since I've played it, but I do have 2 level 100 hardcore characters. So, like, I have done that before, but no, I'm not doing that right now. And going into brand new content I've never seen, I don't want to accidentally, like, I don't want to die and have to restart it, because our goal right now is to see the new content. So there will be times I make a mistake and I get blown up. I don't want that to set us back, like, you know, 10 streams if that happens. Asterkarn Giants. The Castoran Flood.
What are you doing in my house?
I've got enough troubles as it is. Just get out. Tell me about them. By the gods, do you often just go into people's homes uninvited and ask how their day was? Yes. You're not from these parts, are you? I'm sure you're wondering about the cold. No, it's not my personality. I'll have you know I've been dealing with this dreaded curse for years now. A curse? It was my wife, Lenorith, ex-wife now. Neither of us wanted the marriage, but it was arranged by our parents. Lenorith also always seemed a bit unstable, but my family was poor and my father believed marriage would do me good. Shows what he knew. I figured we would not be a match, but I never took her for a hag. After our wedding, she bewitched my dog into a deer and chased him away. When I insisted she turn him back, she became more violent and stormed out into a blizzard, one of the worst storms I'd seen in years. I could still hear her chilling words carried upon the wind. May you forever lost in the cold and dark. Can I help? You would do that for a complete stranger? I've come to accept this curse would be with me forever. I know Lenorith now lives in Kernhold, but I can't even get near the beloved city without my hands turning to ice. Please speak to her on my behalf. I doubt she even remembers me anymore. Maybe she will take mercy and remove this dreaded curse. Okay, and what does the page say? Castoran Flood. Remembered in the tales of the eldest ancestors, Lothalak the Hunter was born among a tribe now forgotten who dwelt upon the banks of the Volder River. One spring, when the river should have run fierce and full, its waters dwindled day by day until only a trickle remained. Troubled by this omen, the tribe sent a band of hunters to seek the river's source and learn what had become of its waters. Among them traveled the young Lothalak, already renowned for his skill with the bow. After a day's journey, they beheld a mighty barrier of timber unlike anything the Kern had ever seen. Upon it sat many Castorans, watching as though they had awaited the hunters' coming. As the hunters drew near, the Castorans scurried to either side and working together drew huge logs, acting as pins, from the heart of the structure. At once the dam burst open, unleashing a roaring wall of water and loose timber. The hunters fled, but none could outrun the flood. Only Lothalak survived, having scaled the tallest tree he could find. Though the torrent tore the tree from the earth, it endured long enough to bear him downstream until the waters calmed. At last, Lothalak reached dry land and made his way home. Yet where his village had stood, nothing remained but mud. No hall, no hearth, nor any trace of his people could be found. The flood had claimed them all. There, amid the ruin of his tribe, Lothalak swore a mighty oath. He would become the greatest hunter the Kern had ever known, and for every soul lost to the cursed Castorans, 100 of their kind would fall by his hand. So they made like a dam and backed up the water and then released it all to just flood and kill their people? Vampires. Oh no, vampiric. What's the end game grind in this game? I mean, getting to 100 is a pretty major feat. There are some end game dungeons on max difficulty. There's the Nemesis bosses. There's a few pretty well hidden bosses that you would probably need the wiki to be able to find how to summon them. I know I went through and I killed them all once just to see if I could on one of my level 100 characters, but they were tough. And the endgame dungeons have random modifiers, kind of like Guild Wars 2 fractals. They can just have a whole bunch of different things that are in effect that is changing it, like monsters poison now, or you do less damage, things like that. Kind of looks like Path of Exile. It's older than Path of Exile is, I'm pretty sure. Grim Dawn is over 10 years old, but its last expansion came out 2 days ago. But both Grim Dawn and Path of Exile were made by people who probably played Diablo 2 growing up. PoE 1 released 3 years before Grim Dawn. Oh, my apologies. I thought it was the other way around. In any case, they're both ARPGs that were inspired by Diablo. They're in the same genre. Last Epoch as well, although that came out far later. I don't know which of these guys doing the falling ice thing, but it's annoying. Grim Dawn's also a spiritual successor to Titan Quest. Yep, that is true. And they're working on a Titan Quest 2 right now. Is it like an NA? Yeah, it's 8 PM where I'm at. Mux, since you've now played 2 expansions of Guild Wars, do I have to make a new character to go between expansions? Only if you want to play the expansion from level 1. For example, if you took a character that you started in Factions, and then you went to Prophecies, you would go to the post-searing. You wouldn't go to pre-searing. So, you would skip the newbie area, basically. So if you want to do the newbie area of the expansion you're traveling to, you gotta make a character there. But if you just want to do the, like, you know, post-newbie area, then you can take one character to other expansions, yes. I gotta wait on that green to fade. I almost died trying to pick up that loot. Opened that area up. Resistances are so important. Yeah. I'm still changing my gear pretty regularly, so I haven't bothered to enchant it with resistances. If I was playing hardcore, though, I'd be going more slowly and more regularly going back to town to top my resistances off. You're absolutely right. Like, right now... Hang on. Alright, so right now I've got 80% for fire, 80 for cold, 74 lightning, all pretty good. 27 poison, terrible. 40 for piercing, 23 for bleeding, 77 for vitality, that one's pretty good. 39 for ether, 0 for chaos, 4 for physical. But I think physical will also hit your armor rating.
Hello there, friend.
Thanks for getting me out of that cage. Not every day you run into a lowlander, much less one saving your life. Don't suppose you'd be willing to lend me a hand one more time. What else could I do? You see, I'm a courier. I was making my way out of Kernhold to deliver a crate of weapons to a settlement down south. You probably never heard of it, being in Irulian, but it's an important border town. Trouble started almost immediately when I ran into a pack of Grobels. One group is no big deal, they usually scatter as soon as you pick one off, but I was unprepared for the larger ambush down the road. Little thieves made off with my delivery and locked me in here for God knows what reason. Probably keeping my meat fresh for later. That is until you happened along. I'm beat, so I'll be returning to Kernhold and calling it a loss, but if you were to recover the crate for me, I'll pay you a finder's fee. What do you say? Alright, I'll help you. Alright, I think we've cleared out this camp. Is this top 10 Diablo clones? It is absolutely top 5 Diablo clones. But genuinely, I don't think it's fair to call it a clone. It has a lot of systems that are very unique to it. It is quite good. Like, I watched your last World v. World video and got me wondering, is your build especially bulky, or is that the average time to kill for World v. World? It's funny you say that, because there are multiple builds in World v. World that can kill me from full health in less than 1 second. And it's the same build that was in that video. So, it just depends on the opponent. And that build I was playing had like 2k toughness, I think. So it did have some defenses, but there are builds that can still burst through it. Ow, 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 ow. Shoot. They got like a healer back there. I'm having to micro the minions to hit it. Can't seem to kill the big guy right now. Alright, now he's going down. Because the fights seem to take a long time, I don't have other World v. World references. I would say it purely depends on the matchup. There are thieves that can like pop out of stealth and they hit me for like, you know, 60-70% of my health. And if I don't like immediately start a dodge or something, then they kill me on the second hit. There's a Mirage build that from stealth can kill me in like 1 second. Like, they start hitting me and then 1 second later I'm dead. So if I don't react to that very fast, I die. But then on the other hand, there's lots of other builds, like what you see in the videos, that, you know, I last longer against, and I can kite around and stuff like that. There are quite a few people that play like Glass Cannon, where they either win or they lose very fast. So if you're fighting one of them, it's going to be a short fight. You know, either way. Are you running Trailblazer gear on that build? 2/3. It's, I'm using Trailblazer on the weapons and armor, and I'm using Apothecaries on the jewelry in the back. But Apothecary has some tanky stats too. But yeah, Condi builds only need Condi damage, whereas power builds need power, precision, and ferocity. So Condi builds, it's easier to get defensive stats mixed in with what you're doing. Oh, can't jump up there. I just want to see if there's anything else up here I missed. Yes. Is full Ascended or full Exotic good for World v. World? So if you're in full Exotic, switching to full Ascended is an increase of like 5 to 10% of your stats. It is useful, but it is not required to start. So do not think you have to have full Ascended before you're allowed to play, because that's just not true. So you can start with Exotic and then just work toward Ascended while having fun. We got some lore we need to read. Hang on a sec. Alright, Scholar's Notes, Entry 4. Parchment is old and faded by time. The unimaginable has happened. Less than an hour's walk from our camp, we found what was left of him. Buxley's body lay face down on the bank of the river. At first he appeared like a small bear or some similarly sized creature, but as we drew closer, I knew for sure it was him. I could see his bright blonde hair curling out from beneath the dark brown furs. Furs which I was quite positive he had left in camp earlier that morning. As I drew closer and turned over his body, I was assaulted by a vision that will stain my mind's eye for the remainder of my days. He was posed on all fours like an animal, his arms and legs chewed off at the joints, his front teeth torn from his face, a look of mortal terror fixed in his face by the permanence of death. Around his body, along the bank of the river, countless trees had been felled, their stumps left oddly pointed like rows of defensive spikes. I fear this is some sort of message, though decoding its purpose is beyond me. Bjor refuses to let us tend to the body. He just stands there at the edge of the clearing, staring blankly up the river. I can hear him even now muttering to himself in some language I do not know. There are 3 of us now, with the passing of Buxley. Despite what has happened, we must gather ourselves, we must continue our mission. It is my charge to gather and deliver this intelligence to the Empire, and I will not fail. Okay, that's horrifying. What's this one? This one was in this burning house.
I'm starting to run out of witty anniversary comments.
Thank you, Broken. Behold the saga of Baal Egan, whose name was once Sorkar, and whose strength was known before he knew his own shadow. In his infancy, the omens gathered thick about him. As a babe, he gripped with such fears that wood split and stone groaned beneath his grasp. The elders whispered that no cradle could contain him. When first he found his feet and strode unsteadily into the world, fate tested him. He fell into the village well, vanishing down its black throat. From that darkness rose the shrieks of monstrous rats, ancient things that had gnawed the roots of the earth itself. The villagers heard the splashing, the snarling, and then silence, and then the child returned. He climbed from the well, slick with blood, not his own, bearing the carcasses of the beasts across his small shoulders. The stones of the well were scored where his fingers had found purchase. From that day forth, none spoke of him as merely a boy. Years passed, and Sorkar grew as storm clouds grew, heavy with promise and violence. No contest stood long before him, no beast that prowled the hills returned unbroken. Yet his greatest trial came when the sky itself turned hostile. From the horizon swarmed ravens the size of warhorses, their beaks and claws thrashing in the darkness. Panic seized the village, but Sorkar did not flee. He strode into the storm of wings, he seized the beasts from the air, shattered their beaks in his grasp, and dashed their bodies upon the rocks. Oh my god. The river frothed red where he cast them, and the rapids carried their ruin far down river, where at last the sky cleared. It was Sorkar alone who stood beneath it. The elders bowed their heads, and their daughters, fairest of the hearthfires, looked upon him not as one man, but as a force of nature given flesh. And so he was granted both their hands in marriage, for it was said no single life could contain him, and no single bond could match the magnitude of his being. These are a lot of fancy words for polygamy. He who climbed from the dark bearing death, scourge of the swarm, this was but the beginning of his legend. Okay.
That skill's not ready.
How are you enjoying one of my favorite games, Muck? Hope you are having a splendid evening.
I am, thank you, Fire King. I am enjoying it. Not my first time playing it, but I'm returning to the game because of the new expansion that came out like 2 days ago.